Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mickie Mueller, and this is GEG Nebraska for March of 2026. Yes?
Yes. Spring, Q1 of 2026.
There we go. That's the way we're going to look at it. I'm Mickie Mueller. I'm one of the co-moderators of GEG Nebraska. I'm an educational technology consultant and a Google for Education certified trainer. And as always, I have my co-host Otis with me.
Otis Pierce, ESU 7 Professional Development Coordinator, co-moderator of GEG Nebraska. Happy to be here. Happy to have you all watching this either live or later recorded for the first quarter of 2026, which is still hard to say 2026.
It is.
And we're 3 months in.
We are. Yes. And, our secret that we've had this year hasn't been really a secret, but because I retired in May, I can actually come to Columbus and we are together. So it's been fun for me to be, and the weather has been great for me to be able to come down.
We've picked good days.
We have. So the next day that we picked to do this, plan on the weather being perfect. Now I probably have just jinxed us, and we'll have to test my own Wi-Fi the next time, or I'll have to go to the public library. I don't know. I haven't had to make that decision because the weather's been so good. I've been able to come down. So here we are for March 2026. And as always, we are going to go through the latest Google updates. These are the things that have happened since we met last, which was in December, the first part of December. We had our last GEG. So the announcements that we're going to talk about today, some of them were rolled out at BET, the BET conference, which is Britain's version of ISTE. ISTE is international, so I have a hard time calling it.
It's Britain's version of NETA.
Yes. Oh, there we go.
but larger.
But bigger, but way bigger.
Way bigger.
Yeah,
FETC, but way bigger.
Yeah, more on the ISTE scale. So Google always does lots of announcements during that time. And so some of those will be included in here. But I think before we get started with the Google announcements, we want to talk about something that we've talked about probably since last year at this time, at least. Yeah. And that is the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines 2.1 level AA. Is that how we refer to this?
WCAG 2.1 AA. As if we need more alphabet soup.
Right. And so we've mentioned this on each of the last few episodes that we've had, because this is something that while it's been on the books for a long time, they will be starting to enforce it, is kind of the way that we've been talking about it.
And here's something, this fall, I was thinking, I have a year and a half. No, Otis, you have 6 months. Here's what it is on that too. Depending on the size of the community you serve, it's not the size of your school, it's the size of the community or service area that you have. If you are 50,000 or greater in population, that's all your population according to the most recent census, you have until April 24th of 2026. So you have a little bit over a month and a half, which in Nebraska, that is a small number of school-related communities. If you're looking at kind of the Omaha area, the Lincoln area, there are some ESUs. Yes, we're some more rural ESUs, like ESU 7 is one of those. Our total population is more than 50,000. So like an ESU 10 and ESU 13. Ours is April of this year. If you are less than 50,000, which is pretty much the entire state of Nebraska, besides those that I mentioned, you have until April 26th of 2027 to be compliant. However, do not wait. If you can start doing some of those things now, you need to start doing some of those things now.
Yeah. So what are we talking about? So the Department of Justice is requiring state and local governments, which includes public school districts, to ensure their web content and mobile apps are accessible to people with disabilities. So we're talking about making sure you have alt text on your images, making sure your websites have color contrast, making sure your mobile apps are readable on screen readers and those kinds of things, making sure your videos have captions, all of those types of things. And so that's kind of what we're talking about here.
Yeah, and this is anything that is publicly accessible. So anything that goes out to the public, if they're just your Google, say for example, just your Google Docs that only you use, you're fine. You don't need to worry about them. And think almost here forward. If you're never going to use it again, it's not going to be on your website anymore. You don't necessarily need to worry about it. But anything here forward that is even if you attach a Google Doc. Hi, Sage.
Hi, Sage. Good to see you. Thanks for joining.
Even if you attach a Google Doc, if you attach a PDF or have it linked to a PDF, you need to make sure that that PDF is accessible as well. So it's anything on the web that is publicly accessible needs to meet these guidelines.
Yeah, and so we have a couple of great resources that we've come across recently. One is from Region 10 ESC, which is in Texas. And for me, this by far is the best resource that I've seen that specifically lists what falls under what must be compliant. So like Otis was saying, any public-facing websites has to be compliant. That means all pages on the website, online documents, interactive elements have to be compliant and accessible. Videos need to include captions. Captions are not enough. These are not compliant. So I'm not sure what that means. Otis, do you have any information on videos, on how to make them? Do you actually have to physically put the captions on the video to make it compliant?
You should. It would be helpful if you did, but as long as there's closed captioning of some type that you can toggle on and off. So like when you upload a YouTube video, there's the closed captions there. If you want to put things, at least this is AA. If it were AAA, there would be a lot more you have to do. We don't have to worry about that. Just have to worry about AA and some way to do captions. If you can auto-generate captions, as an example, if you have some of the features that are available in Google Vids, it does the captions for you. It will do the captions in a way you make a copy and you can go in and you can edit them if you need to off of that. But having those captions there, if you have a way to do that, that is great to have those captions also on there is helpful. But
it's not just your school website. Your online learning platforms, course content, and homework portals also have to have accessible information. So you think about your online exams and your quizzes, PDFs, presentations, multimedia that are posted for student use, online payment systems for your parents, registration forms, employment applications, any digital service that's provided to the public through your online learning platform or your website. All of those things need to be accessible. So we will include a link to this Region 10 ESC guide that I believe is a really good reference. I also wanted to shout out the Iowa Technology and Education Connection, which is Iowa's version of ANITA. They have just recently wrapped up a series on accessibility and equity resources. And so they've got a great series that talks about what needs to happen and what that looks like. We'll link to that as well.
And then also have a link in there for the Nebraska Educational Service Unit Coordinating Council website that has some things kind of off the Academy resources as well. Knowing that this is coming is helpful to get started now. You're seeing a much calmer Otis than you would have seen in September. In September, Otis was glad he didn't have any hair to be able to pull out. So.
Yeah, and we want to, I threw Sage's comment up there earlier. Sage is curious how districts are doing, and I'm going to turn that one over, since I'm not attached to a district anymore, I'm going to turn that one over to Otis, and maybe he can, talk about what ESU 7 has done and how their districts are coming along.
Yeah, Sage, we haven't done a whole lot yet because ours still kind of have a year and a half. I am meeting, going into our superintendent's meeting here in a month, a couple days before actually we have to be fully compliant. To talk to them. It's been mentioned. I am hosting a work day at the service unit this summer for them to come in for part of a morning to start working on some of these things ahead of time rather than waiting till the last minute. I did have a district reach out. One of the media specialists reached out last week, I think it was, week and a half ago. asking what we're doing, if they were looking for any trainings, because trying to get ahead of it now on some of those. I said, hey, we're doing stuff here this summer, going to have things, talking to superintendents. I know us as an ESU, we purchased Graco Workspace. This was new from the last time since Mickie and I met too. We purchased Graco Workspace, which goes and looks at your Google Docs, sheets, and slides for compliance. I know I was just looking today, so I know that Google Docs, it runs 22 checks, looking at your heading structure, looking at, do your images have alt text? Are your tables are some of the messiest for alt text and for accessibility. Tables are not fun. It looks at color contrast. It looks at your links. It does a whole bunch of different things. So that's what we've done. That's what I'm going to be helping districts with.
So we'll include a link to that in the show notes as well, if you're interested in that. And then Otis, Sage is talking about Canvas and the accessibility checker. You work with the ESU's Canvas. Can you speak to that?
Yes. Down in the bottom in the rich text, there is a little person in a circle. That is Canvas's accessibility checker. It's kind of always running in the background. And if there's a little number that pops up, that's where it's saying, hey, you have an accessibility issue. Yes, I'll get to Sage's comment here in just a second. So that accessibility checker there in Canvas looks for it. There's the accessibility checker in Canvas. A lot of websites are going through that now too, with that. And yes, Graco runs on G Speed. It's called Graco Workspace. And I believe, and it may depend on the size too, I think minimum is $2,500 for the suite for your entire domain, and everybody on your domain has access to it. Otherwise, it's $500 a user. So even 5 people use it, you're automatically breaking even. When I was looking at it for us, but Graco is great. There are several ESUs in the state that have gotten Graco for themselves. And once we run Graco on a Google Doc, if we want it as a PDF, we export it out of Graco as a PDF so that all the tags stay on the PDF, because sometimes the tags won't want to come down when you do a file download PDF right out of there. Yeah, that new checker coming out. I haven't tried that yet, Sage. But yes, that's helpful to kind of check those things, because that's gonna be there as well.
Yeah. So I guess bottom line, if you're in Nebraska and you are hearing about this for the first time, or you're concerned about this, I would reach out to your ESU. Yeah,
your ESUs. We've been talking about this for about 1.5 years now. We have some great resources. NDE, Doran Avey, and Brian Wojcik at NDE have been huge helps, along with other folks there too. But those are the 2 that stand out to me that have been helping a lot. That have been kind of my go-tos, along with Andrew Easton at ESUCC and all the other ESU folks in my sphere as we're talking about this.
So we just wanted to throw that out there again, because those deadlines are coming up. It's not something that you should wait for. We'll include the links to these resources that we have collected. That should give you a good start on at least having conversations in your district about what needs to happen. All right, so now we're going to switch into Google stuff, because that is why we are here. And we wanted to let you know, this was one of the things I think that was announced at BET in January. The Google Educator Level 1 and Level 2 exams are free until June 1st of this year. So, a lot of us in Nebraska, we're done in May, middle of May. Put this on your calendar to complete these exams by the end of May, and you'll get to do them for free. Also, exams that are free right now are the Gemini Certified Educator exam. That is free, as is the Gemini Certified Student exam. That is also free. So they're offering a lot of these exams for free. And if you are interested in becoming a Google for Education certified trainer, you do have to have Level 1 and Level 2 certification. So this is as your first step to completing that application process, this would be a great opportunity for those of you who have thought about doing that. You get to take those exams for free. Now, normally I think they're $25 a piece, maybe 15 and 25, but still, which is not very much, but take them for free. And then if you would not happen to pass it the first time, you could then retake it again, and you wouldn't be out money.
Yeah, having that free for a little bit for you to be able to do that and see where you are and see what you want to do, and even have that certification, even if you're not wanting to go and become a certified trainer, you at least maybe have that certification. And who knows, maybe, talk to your administrator before you do it. You may get some continuing education credits. That could be some PD for some continuing education credits as well. Yeah.
And I have teachers ask me, some teachers have asked me, well, why would I want to do that? And I think back to me, now Otis and I have been doing this for a really long time. And back when we did it, the process was different. But for me, I was working so much with Google tools. My district was transitioning from Microsoft to Google. I just wanted to prove to myself that I knew my stuff. That's why I did it in the first place. Now, since I've been a trainer for 15-ish years, I've just continued to update my skill set. And now that's part of becoming a trainer, you have to have level 1 and level 2 certification. That is something that I've done. So, Jeannie, thank you for joining us today.
Yes, there is a Canvas course in the Nebraska Learning Network, which is through the Department of Education. So if your school has Canvas, if you just go over on the left-hand bar, the colored left-hand bar, there's an NDE Learn button, or should be, or could be an NDE Learn button. That's going to take you there for a free course on Accessibility Essentials. As far as I know, there will be more courses coming as well with that. I know they're looking into some of those things. Shara Johnson and Bill Schroeder, part of the Nebraska Canvas Consortium, are working on getting those done as well. So yeah, if you have Canvas, that is a free course. Or if you do not have Canvas, I believe you can get an account through the NDE Canvas instance as well for that.
And no charge to that, right?
No charge to that.
Okay. So thanks for throwing that out there. All right. Other Google announcements. Google Vids is one of my favorite Google tools. It is the simple video editor that you have been waiting for. Runs beautifully on Chromebooks. You can record your screen. You can record just audio. You can record video. It's fantastic. And so they continue to add additional features into Google Vids. Going back to the accessibility part, Google Vids will now automatically auto caption your video with stylized captions. I think that's actually coming up a little bit later in our show notes, but it will put the stylized, like you see the TikTok videos that have those fancy popping captions at the bottom. Google Vids does that automatically now. It's slick. But they have also released some avatars in Google Vids. So if you don't want yourself to be on the video, you can actually choose an avatar, either a human-looking avatar or a cartoon-looking avatar, and that's powered by Veo 3.1, which is the engine behind that. Although this is only available if you have an Ed Plus or a teaching and learning add-on, and it's only available for a limited time. So a lot of these AI features that Google is rolling out, they are now rolling these out for a limited time, at least through May 31st, is what they've said. But for this particular one, you need to have either an Ed Plus license or a TNL add-on.
Yeah, of course. Now you have to put it behind the paid site.
Of course. Okay. Also, a newer update is that now users of all ages can generate images in the Gemini app when signed into their Workspace account. When they added Nano Banana, and I'm sorry, and I think I've said this before, I just think Nano Banana is just a brilliant name for their image editor. But when they first rolled out Nano Banana, they only gave 18 and up the ability to create images in their Gemini Workspace account, but now it's users of all ages can actually generate images.
Yeah, that's helpful. I was working on some things for this summer and generating images that you can't find anywhere else. I've been using, if I want this specific image, I can't find a Creative Commons licensed image that does what I want it to do. Plug it into Nano Banana. I love Nano Banana. It is. It just sounds like yeah.
So a few guardrails that they've put in place for users under 18. Users under 18 can improve upon generated images with follow-up prompts, but they cannot edit them directly within Nano Banana, and they cannot use uploaded images for generation. So every once in a while, you'll see all of this on social media about turn yourself into a Barbie doll, or turn yourself into, I'm trying to think of all the ones that they've had out there. Barbie doll is the action figure, and in order to do that, you have to upload your own image for it to be able to recreate that in your likeness. Well, users under 18 cannot upload their own images and edit those images within Nano Banana. Those are a couple of the guardrails that they have in place for users under 18.
Which, having those guardrails in place is really good, so that we can teach students how to use AI in the proper way. Kind of goes back all the way when we've been talking digital citizenship. This is still kind of some of that digital citizenship. What are we, probably 3.0, 4.0 right now with everything that's coming out. But having those guardrails so that they can't do some of those things helps.
Yeah, and Google has said that they have trained Gemini specifically to recognize areas that are inappropriate to youth. And they've implemented safety features and guardrails, including content filters, to help prevent unsafe content, such as illegal or age-gated substance. Age-gated substances. That's maybe not the right thing. I'm reading off of my notes, and I'm thinking that sounds weird.
It does.
From appearing in responses to these users. So for under 18 users get a different experience within Gemini if they're logged into their Workspace account.
Yeah, that's definitely going to help. One of the newer NotebookLM updates that came out, it was maybe about a month and a half, 2 months ago, is now you can do data tables in NotebookLM that can then be exported to Sheets. I've played with this just a little bit, not terribly a lot, because I haven't had a lot of my stuff, a lot of my data that I'm putting in there is already the way that I want it. So I don't want it in another data table. But if you have a big old long report that maybe you do need some data extracted from it, this data tables would be very helpful for you.
Yeah. So that's a newer release to NotebookLM. We love ourselves some NotebookLM here. Let's talk about Classroom and some new features that have come to Google Classroom with Gemini. And one of the newest is you are now able to generate podcast-style audio lessons in Google Classroom using Gemini. So when you log into Classroom, over on the left-hand side, you now have a Gemini tab. And that's kind of where they've put all of the Gemini features are right in that tab. And so in order to generate this podcast-style audio lesson, what it will ask you to do is select a grade level and topic. And then from that grade level and topic, Gemini will generate learning objectives, and you can accept those objectives as is, or you can edit them, or you could even completely change them and put in your own learning objectives for the lesson. Then you select from two voices, two different voices for the teacher, and there's two different voices for the student in the podcast. And you can select their avatars as well. Gemini uses that information to create the podcast. The podcast includes audio and a transcript. And this is the thing that I don't like about this feature. In order to be able to use it in Classroom, you have to export it. So here you are in Classroom, right? You're on the Gemini tab. I'm in Classroom on the Gemini tab. And yet I have to export this out of Classroom to be able to add it to my assignment. It's clunky. I think that there should be a way that I can just attach that to an assignment after I've generated it in Classroom, but that's not how it works right now. So you can either export this to Drive as an audio file, or you can export it to slides. The audio file is just audio, and the slides is just a transcript. And so to me, it would be ideal if those two things could be combined. And you would see as they are saying what they're saying, you would see that on the transcript. But right now, they're two separate things. There's no way to edit the audio, but if you do have the transcript in slides, you can go and edit the transcript from there. But remember, they're two separate files. Audio and then the transcript are two separate files.
That can be very helpful for kids who need to hear it multiple times, or that are maybe gone, or it can be used as a review to put that in there. But having those as two separate files and extra steps is a little clunky for teachers that maybe need to do this because, oh, I have a sick kid at home. Or all of a sudden, oops, I got to go do this because an emergency happened and I need to create this, but now I got to create this, then export it, then.
Yeah, right now it's a lot of steps. So if you have used this feature and you are like Otis and I think that this is too many steps, please hit the question mark in Google Classroom and leave your feedback. Google reads every piece of feedback that they get, and most of the product updates that they have made over the course, the 10 years that Classroom has been a thing, have been at direct request from teachers. So they don't know that you want it unless you tell them. So if you, like me, think that this could be a much smoother process, leave some feedback in Classroom.
Yeah. Finally.
Oh my God, this is a huge one.
Finally, Google Forms. You can set to automatically stop accepting responses. You don't have to go in and turn it off. You can set those based on a date and time or the number of responses you want, rather than going in and getting the little add-on that say, hey, stop after X number of responses. So having this already set in there is going to save a huge amount of time. Especially, if you use something as a sign up and I only want 10 people, and you got to be right on top of it or have that external. It's right there for you. Yeah.
So that's a great update. One that is long overdue. We already mentioned the styled captions in Google Vids, that Google Vids will do that automatically. And this is available to all users. You don't have to be on the paid tier in order to get this, but you can choose the captions that they have several different styles that you can put on there. It works really slick. One thing that I will mention is that when you do the captions, it will give you a transcript, and you can actually go in and edit the transcript, which will edit the video automatically. And the first time I saw this pop up in my Google Vids, I thought, oh, well, I could go back in and edit out all of my ums and ahs and pauses. And I didn't do it. Do you know why?
Because you still hear it.
Yeah, well, I still hear it, but I also want people to know that I am a real human being doing this video. If it's too polished and it's too perfect, people are going to think it's AI generated, and I don't want that for my videos. So I leave all the ums, ahs, and pauses in there on purpose.
And one thing, kind of back to the beginning with accessibility, yes, stylized captions, but make sure they are readable.
Yes.
You're not going to want it in script because somebody might not be able to see that. You're going to want to be able to tell an A from an O, as an example. So just yes, it's great that those are there. Use them, yes, but also make sure that people can read them as well.
Great. So don't choose something that's so over stylized that looks like it belongs on a TikTok video, right? Make sure it's readable. Great tip there. Okay, this was another thing that was announced at BET in January. You can now use Gemini to prepare for the SAT test.
That is okay. How many people are taking the SAT anymore now that some colleges aren't even requiring SATs and ACTs?
Yeah, and here in Nebraska, there may be a few students who take take the ACT and the SAT, but because the ACT is required in the state of Nebraska, all juniors have to take that as their state assessment. But we do have some kids who are maybe going to college on the East Coast that those schools want the SAT. Yeah. So now within Gemini, you can say, I want to take a practice SAT test, and it will give you SAT structured questions.
Which is another resource for studying for the SAT, so that you're there, you have something there, it's ready to go. It's that more preparation and planning for students.
And, instead of paying a tutor, now it's right here in Gemini. They have said that more tests are coming in the future. So if you're like us, well, ACT would really be more helpful to our students. They have said that more tests are coming in the future.
Which will be helpful.
Yes.
More NotebookLM. You can add NotebookLM as a source in Gemini. So as you're going through and prompting, saying, all right, I want you to look at this. I want you to use this NotebookLM as a source as well with all of my content that I want. I have curated. I want this along with others from around for you to make your other response. So having that as a source is very helpful so that you can kind of curate that yourself.
Yeah. This was an announcement that I was really excited about. And before you get super excited, you do have to have Ed Plus or Teaching and Learning. I'm so sorry to do this to you that are all on fundamentals. But this one was, I think this again is another long overdue feature to Google Classroom. And that is the ability to record audio, video, and screencasts directly in Classroom. So if you're on Ed Plus or Teaching and Learning, you will now notice that you have a record option, whether it's an announcement, whether it is an assignment, a material, or even feedback, comments on student work. You now have a record option that you can record private comments, announcements, posts, materials, and even better, if students have the ability to post in Classroom, they also can use the record option.
Which, if you have one of those versions of Workspace, having students be able to record and post in Classroom is also good to kind of that for those that maybe can't type as well, but they can speak what they're wanting to, that video reflection that they can talk better than they can maybe write or type it out, and they can explain it perfectly, exactly what they're supposed to do. So you know what they know and are able to do. Having that talking part of it can be helpful for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And that sometimes how you write something is not how the other person reads it. So having the ability to record your thoughts with the intonation in your voice could be helpful. So I love that this is available. I'm sorry it's only available to Ed Plus and Teaching and Learning. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I think it should be available to everybody.
It should.
And, last year about this time, I went on a rant about Google Vids because last year at this time, Google Vids was only available to paid users. And I said it should be available to everybody. And then a couple months later, Google made it available to everybody. So maybe if I rant about the record option.
Let's have another Mickie Mueller rant.
maybe Google will see that this really is a tool, a feature that every student and teacher should be able to take advantage of.
Yeah. It should be, and it's helpful for those students there, and maybe even younger students who don't have those keyboarding skills quite yet and are still learning the keyboard to be able to speak some of those things out. Record, hey, here is my picture. Here's how I drew it and how I went through this in an art class, to be able to explain some of those techniques that they may have used that are appropriate for a kindergartner or a first grader.
Well, and I know that some of us are still salty about Flip. And, Flip was like the greatest ed tech tool of all time. And Microsoft said, we're always going to have this available to you. And then they went and put it into their paid product and took it away. So while this doesn't have all the bells and whistles and features that Flip did, this would be a nice substitute to that.
Yes, it would. It would. Now, Google Forms, you're going to have granular control over who can respond. So being able to say, all right, these people are the ones that I want to be able to respond. These are the people I don't want to be able to respond.
Yes. Now, this was something that they rolled out maybe in November of 2024. I think it's been out for a while, but that was for forms created then going forward. This update goes back to all of the previous forms that you've created and added those granular controls in there.
Yeah. So it's being able to go in all those previous ones that you may use or may not is going to be helpful.
Sage.
Tools audio. Now that has me going and looking.
Yeah. Otis is going to look at that. I'm
on one screen right now, so I'm having to go back and forth.
Yeah. We're streaming and reviewing our notes on the same screen. I don't see that, but I am not on a Workspace account, so I'm not going to be a good judge for that one.
My audio, because we're supposed to go into audio features. My audio, I have listen to this tab and listen to document summary. But that looks like Gemini audio pieces right now. So it's looking like I do not have that yet either.
So that maybe is something that is still coming, still rolling out.
It must be. Yeah, I don't see it available yet on our Workspace stage, and we're a rapid release domain. Yes.
So that could be still rolling out. Okay, so they have, again, I'm sorry, but this is Ed Plus and Teaching and Learning. But they have started to put select Gemini in Workspace capabilities into Ed Plus and Teaching and Learning, given those to Ed Plus and Teaching and Learning customers. And so things like Gemini and Docs, Help Me Write, is now available to Ed Plus and Teaching and Learning. Gemini in Slides, create original images and slides. Gemini in Forms, create forms and see AI summaries of responses. With Gemini in Vids, you can create a video from a prompt. And then Gemini in Sheets is coming soon. Right now, if you have Gemini turned on, these features are available. But Google has said that they will be providing more granular control for administrators. So if you want your 18 plus users to have access to, say, Gemini in Slides, but not Gemini in Docs, you would be able to make that happen. The granular controls are not available just yet.
Yeah, having some of that there in Docs and Slides, so you can create right in there, is going to be very helpful. Plus, on the admin side, being able to control who has access to some of those, if you're wanting to just slowly roll them out once you've had them trained and they're ready to do that, is helpful.
Yeah, and right now this is available for Ed Plus and TNL 18 and up. So if you have Gemini turned on, enabled for your students, these are not features that they will be able to see.
Gemini in Chrome is coming to Chromebook Plus devices.
Yes, and I can verify. I'm on a Chromebook Plus right now, and I did just get Gemini in Chrome. And so at the top of the screen in the file name bar, right above the Omnibox, there's a Gemini icon, and I can click on that and it will open Gemini in a side panel. Now this is available. This was available in Chrome in Windows and Mac, but they've just rolled it out to Chromebook Plus devices. So if you have teachers who are on Chromebook Pluses, remember Chromebook Pluses are more powerful, souped up versions of Chromebooks specifically designed for power users. Teachers in this case, they've already started adding several different AI features just to that version of Chromebook. Now Gemini in Chrome is also available.
Which is going to be helpful there as well. So you get a little bit of that same experience if you're using another laptop or a desktop as well. Another Google Vids. We love Google Vids.
I love Google Vids.
We kind of already talked about the transcript trim a little bit, editing video, deleting words, but that, you still want it to make sure that it is a person. We've talked about stylized captions, but one that we haven't talked about is the read-along teleprompter.
I'm telling you what, guys, this is a game changer. And this, again, these features are now available to all Vids customers. So anybody who has access to Vids have these features now. These used to be just in the paid tier. Now anybody. And this teleprompter is awesome. So you can type in your script and it will give you a teleprompter at the top of your screen, right below the webcam. And it will automatically scroll as you are reading the teleprompter. It is brilliant.
What's Lisa Pack going to do now with all her make your own teleprompters?
This is something, again, that's just a great feature. It helps, make the quality of your videos better. If you can be looking at the camera versus looking at your notes or reading something, this is a great option to have in Google Vids.
Or just trying to do it off the top of your head.
Well, that too. Okay, so they are finally putting into the admin console some Gemini usage reports. They've been there for a little while. This is fairly new, but now you will be able to get usage data on Gemini by feature. So what features are your users using, apps, and active users. So you're going to be able to pull some data about who is using Gemini in your domain.
And knowing that it's who is using it, not how they're using it.
Right.
So there's still some of that not using it, not being able to go in. There's still that data protection, that data privacy piece there to it. But at least you're going to know, all right, I've had this many users. We've had a spike after a training we've had, or it's stayed here because we've had it turned off. Maybe we turn it on and see what users there are. And is it teachers using it more than students and admin, and, being able to do it some of that way. So you can kind of have a little more data around how Gemini features are being used.
Or maybe you have users who are reaching thresholds, right? If you are using Gemini for free, you're going to hit a usage threshold a lot quicker than somebody on a paid subscription. And so you're wanting data to justify purchasing some paid Gemini licenses. These reports should help you do that.
Yeah, that's going to be very helpful. So if you have administrators saying, hey, why can't I come and do this? Well, okay, you're meeting your threshold 3 out of 5 days. We may need to think about getting you a paid version for Gemini. Or I just ran into this last week and didn't know it was going to happen. I was creating infographics and slide decks from our annual consultations. I ran into a limit. I didn't realize there was a limit. I thought I had a little bit higher limit than I actually did. And then, so I had to wait 24 hours to be able to do some of that. But it was still a pretty high limit. It was right up around the 20s someplace for creating those. But I was doing a lot right in a row in one day. So
do you have a paid? And
I have a paid version.
And you still hit
I still hit the limit.
Okay.
And it told me on, it's kind of funny, that table that says how many infographics and slideshows you have. There you go, Sage.
Way to go,
that
Sage.
just says you need a higher paid version. It's weird because it says for those on the free version some, and on the pro version, which I have, a little bit higher. It doesn't give you an exact number.
Yeah,
it says a little bit higher, and then the Pro Plus or whatever they're calling it it doesn't give you an exact number.
It's really hard to determine what your threshold limits are in any AI tool, I think, but Gemini too. They don't say this is the threshold. You really don't know until you hit it. And I hit it too. I was using the thinking model and I hit that threshold. I don't even remember what I was doing, but I was on the thinking model. And so I had to switch back down to the fast in order to keep prompting. So, and I'm on the free version. I don't have a paid version of Gemini.
Yeah. And, I have not reached my limit in NotebookLM. I haven't put a notebook with 300 sources in there yet. I think the most I've gotten in there at one time is right around 20, 25. I haven't even reached the 30 that would be for the free side of things. So, yeah, it's not often I hit the threshold on things.
Okay, so this was just released not too long ago. You can now create custom soundtracks with Lyria 3 in the Gemini app. So this is the ability to create music in Gemini, and you can get a 30-second soundtrack, whatever, based on whatever prompt you give it. And so that is something fun to do, I guess.
Yeah, it'd be fun if you're having your kids do like little podcasts of things. It could be an intro and an extra for a podcast or a vlog or whatever it is. It's kind of that introduction and that fade out music at the end as well. It could be, you're only going to need about 30 seconds for that. You don't need terribly long.
I did run across something on social media not too long ago about students using something like this to learn vocabulary. You know, to put in several vocabulary words or spelling words or, you know, whatever, and make a song around that. So, I mean, there could be some educational uses to that too.
Yeah, so that can help out a lot there. So there could be some things there for music to kind of do that. And I messed around with this a little bit when I saw it coming out, and you can choose the style, choose the speed. I only want instrumental. I don't want this. I want this, you know, so it's just like anything else. Tell it exactly what you want, and it's going to create something for you.
Yes. Okay. Again, I'm sorry. Ed Plus and Teaching and Learning, this one's for you. Educators can now get help drafting personalized guidance on written assignments with AI suggested feedback in Google Classroom. So if you're, have writing that you're evaluating from your students, you can actually have some AI generated suggested feedback that you can apply to those assignments.
Yeah, so that'll help help speed up feedback. Once again, still may not be perfect, still want to check it, but that'll help speed up feedback to students. 2 new functions in Google Sheets.
I just thought this was random. This just came out
random.
within like a week. And I mean, from my perspective, and a lot of what we've talked about today have been the AI enhancements that they've added to these products. And so when they came out with 2 new functions in Sheets, I was like, what? Are they still working on things like that at Google? So apparently they are. I don't really know what these, their Sheets equal sheet value. So they're the ability to reference specific sheets in a workbook, I think.
What I got from this, reading this, is one of them will tell you, saying, all right, here's the value I'm looking for. It will tell you which number of the sheets. So if you have a Google sheet with a whole bunch of different tabs on the bottom, equal sheet, and then put the value one in, it's telling you which number of tab that value or that expression is in. Equal sheets, add an S to the end, it'll tell you how many total numbers of sheets you have in that workbook. The way that I was reading it.
So, it's been a long time since my Microsoft Excel days. And so I just thought it was interesting that despite all of the AI features that they've decided to pack in all their things, here are these 2 random new functions in Google Sheets. So I threw it on there.
I don't know that I would use those functions a whole lot. It wasn't something I was asking for.
Yeah, I don't know. So
but hey, it works for those that are wanting to know it.
Yes. Okay, back to things that should have been there a long time ago. Here's a new one. You can now save PDFs directly to your Google Drive. Prior to this release, when you looked at a PDF in Chrome, you actually had to download it and then upload it to Drive. Now they give you a save to Drive option in the PDF.
Yeah, what took you so long, Google?
Yeah, I don't know. This seems like that's something that should have been here a long time ago, for sure.
Yeah, especially when you get other people's Google Docs. Add to Drive.
Yes.
Add to Drive.
Yes. And we mentioned this earlier. So we mentioned new avatars in Google Vids. And I said cartoon avatars at that time, but that's a relatively new option. That just rolled out last week. New cartoon avatars in Google Vids. So if you don't want to be on camera going through your video, you can have a cartoon avatar saying what you want to say in your video. And again, paid feature, sorry. Ed Plus Teaching and Learning available for a limited time, at least until May 31st of this year.
Yeah. Another Google Vids, max length now is 30 minutes. It was a lot shorter then, but giving you a little bit more time to record some of those screencasts if you're going to be gone, or if you're creating a tutorial or whatever it might be.
Yeah, I would caution you against leaving your students a 30-minute video. They're not going to watch it. chunk that up, right? 5 minutes in several videos is probably better than 30. But now if you need to, you can record a 30-minute video within Google Vids.
Yeah. We kind of already talked about Nano Banana 2 now. They've updated it.
Yes, that was the new update. And what I have found in these updates to Nano Banana, especially this last one, is the ability when image generation originally came out, you saw images, but you didn't see text included in those images. And if you did see text included in those images, it was the text had mistakes in it, right? And now this latest update to Nano Banana is really improving the text rendering and translation that you would have in an image.
We'll see you, Sage. Thanks for joining.
So lots of new updates to Nano Banana. So that's available. And
last on our rundown that we have, Workspace admins can now allow Gemini app conversation sharing for their organization. So if you have a conversation, it's just like sharing a doc. We want to share a doc. We want to share this conversation that we've had to others within our organization. We can't share it out. So like I couldn't share something with Mickie unless I was to copy it, paste it in a Google Doc, and then share it over.
Actually, this is Google Workspace admin will have a new control that will allow users in their organization to share their Gemini conversations with public links.
Oh, with public links.
Yes. So that will be an option. So if you want your users to be able to do that, you'll be able to toggle that on. So what Otis was saying, if he had a Gemini conversation that he wanted to share with me, if that option was turned on in his domain, which since he's the domain administrator, he could turn that option on and then be able to share a public link to that chat.
Now, I'd be very careful in doing that, just like sharing anything else out with the public. Once again, it's going to need to make sure it's accessible, kind of back to the top of the show on that. So just being very careful with that, what you share out, and that's going to also be up to your administrator, whether you want to do that or not.
Yeah, there was something we were talking about, the reporting aspect, being able to access feature usage and threshold reports for Gemini. And that made me think of something, and then we went on to something else and I forgot to say it. But what that is telling you is your users, how many users you have using Gemini, what their the features that they're using, how many active users, and so on. You still don't have the ability as a teacher to be able to see what your students are chatting about in Gemini. Okay, that is not like, for example, in Magic School, in Brisk, in School AI, teachers get a transcript of what their students have been chatting with, and those tools will flag inappropriate conversations for the teacher to see. Gemini does not have that option. You can see a chat transcript, but you have to go into Vault in order to do that. And not every user, as a matter of fact, very few users in your domain would actually have access to Vault in order to be able to do that. So that's maybe a thing that you need to think about if you're going to have your students using AI. Is it important to you to know what they're chatting about? And if it is, then I would recommend maybe using one of the tools that has that ability over Gemini.
Yeah, if you're wanting to see that, and really that gives you more guardrails too. We talked about guardrails earlier in the episode, using one of those if you're wanting to see exactly what your students are chatting about with the AI, or keep them specifically on a specific topic. Using something like a School AI or a Brisk or a Magic School that's going to keep that keep that there, keep them centered in that lane of the topic that you're wanting them to be on. Not to say that Gemini can't help you set up that other tool and help you with some of those prompts and those ideas for it. But why not use a combination of things? Use the tools and resources you have to be able to make the best experience for your students and teaching them how to use AI in the right way.
Absolutely. So I just wanted to throw that out there because I thought of that and then we went on to something else. So, but that ends our agenda for today. I will include show notes. Now, last month, last time we did this in December, I actually went through and did chapters within the videos and did timestamps to where we talked about those things. I didn't really get any feedback on that. It didn't really take me all that long. So I'll probably do something like that again so that you can kind of just look and see, oh yeah, I want this information on Classroom, creating audio podcasts. Click right there and it goes right to that point in the video. So I'll probably do that again. I won't have time to do it today, but I'll get that done by tomorrow. And so when I send out the email saying that the recording is available, those show notes will be there with timestamps so that you can go directly to the portion of the video that you would like to review.
The life of a retired educational technology consultant.
Yes. And I actually have 2 meetings today, so it's a busy day.
Yeah, but we always enjoy this time. Mickie and I know we have enjoyed helping you out. We hope you have learned things from how many years I don't even know how many years we've done this now. But we appreciate your time. We appreciate those that come in and watch this either live or afterwards.
At double time. Yeah,
at double time, triple time. Just skip over any time that Otis is talking. But it is. We enjoy doing this. I think we've maybe figured out a good time to do this rather than an every month. Do it every couple of months so we have a bigger, longer show for you. And any feedback we definitely appreciate. And if you want to come out and talk to us, we'd be happy to have you come on and talk to us.
Absolutely. We'd love to have guests. We haven't had a guest in a long time. So if you'd like to join us on our next GEG, we'd love to have you. I think we'll probably do one more for this school year. So look for us to come back in probably April, May sometime.
Yeah, April, first part of May.
We'll do a wrap up and one more before the end of the school year.
Well, thanks, everybody. Enjoy. If you have spring break coming up or are on spring break, enjoy your spring break. Good luck to all the teams at state basketball here in Nebraska this week. Also, back in my home state of Wyoming, I know 3A, 4A state basketball is coming up this weekend back in Wyoming. So
I don't know if we have any Wyoming folks. I know we have Iowa, South Dakota, Kansas educators. Wyoming, why not? Join us.
Why not? And have a good spring, and hope spring sports are off to a good start.
We will see you again next time.
Bye, everybody.